What's up guys, welcome to Real Beats. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some real vintage samples from scratch. If you guys haven't subbed already, go turn post noise on, make sure you do so because it does help out a lot. Just hop right into it. So the BPM, anything from 100 to 120 and maybe 130 is really good for these. And the reason for that is because how you going to play these melodies and stuff, they're going to sound really fast if you put it at like 160. Now it is possible to do it at that tempo, but if you want it to sound a little bit more realistic, I'll say go a little slower. Mine's 113, so that's what I'm gonna be using. Just grabbing a scale real quick. We can use the harmonic minor, and let's see what key it's in. A, and be careful what key you start in, because sometimes when you try to like turn to a sample and halftime it, it will sound very low when you halftime it, or just in period it will sound low. All right, so real quick, blue, this blue with the stars, that is the required instruments to get this sound, right? And I'll show you the instruments as we go, but these are required. All right, and this is all just pure MIDI. All right, so you can do this with pure MIDI. The orange ones are like phrases and textures and stuff, but you do not need these. Okay, so here's the first instrument, a guitar. I just use this because it's my favorite one right now. Any guitar will work. There's free guitars that sound just as good as this. All right, let's go in here and start making a melody. Simple. Gonna start on the root, go a little higher, and then let me see. We can just do 2 per bar like this. Let's go lower. Try this. Okay, so that's decent. So now what we're gonna do is copy this one note. So hold shift, click and drag, and you can copy it, and then press Control up, right? And you can pull it up. So now what we're gonna do is go to the snap to grid and put it to 1/3. You can see the grid changed. Okay. And you see now it's in thirds. So now what we're gonna do from this note is just go up, and you can literally just copy this. All right, now imagine this, but at 160, and you don't even gotta imagine. I'll show you. And you see how fast that is? So that's why I said go slower, but if you like that sound, go ahead and do it. And then on this one, we can actually just manually do this one. Stretch these out a little bit, and then let's just copy it over. Boom, we got our first little melody here. And then from here, I want to go down. So what I'm gonna do, pretty much just flip. So we can take this and just flip it. And we kind of got to mimic that same pattern. And what we can do is actually just pull it over and just switch everything. Okay. Same thing here. Just copy it over. You don't got to make it difficult. All right. So that's the first part. So now let's just create a little bit of variation. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, just something so that we know, okay, this sounds different. And you can just add literally one note. Okay, I think that's good enough for that. So that is the guitar, and let's move on to the next instrument. Okay, so now on to the strings. Now real quick, I'm gonna say this early in the video. Do not feel like you need any of the VSTs I'll show you. Yes, you should invest in yourself and try to get some higher quality VSTs, but they do have free versions, trials, just free VSTs of this quality everywhere. Okay, it's everywhere. Literally on every site they have like a section called freebies, and it's a ton of free VSTs for contact and everything. So don't feel like you need to just impulse buy and buy these VSTs, all right? Because you do not. So let's go ahead and do these strings, and I'm gonna show you the VSTs, action strings. Now I purposely picked a trash preset to show you that you could just use any string. All right, now you got stuff like this, right? But this would be a trash tutorial if I didn't actually teach you how to make stuff like that, right? So I'm gonna just choose a trash one. It's literally just one little, I guess it would be a staccato, I don't know. But let's close it, and I'm gonna show you how to actually make it. So what you wanna do is go to thirds, make sure you're still on thirds. And then if you look back, you have the A and then the E. So we wanna take that, let's copy it, pull it over here, and paste it. Now we're gonna make these really small. And now what we're gonna do, and make sure these both are highlighted, what we're gonna do is, let's actually turn the velocity up, is copy it like this, and this is gonna give you that kind of rhythm for the and they're not playing. Oh, it's too low. Okay, and that's how you can kind of mimic it. And you can go faster, you go 1/6 and go even faster, but I don't think I need to do that for this video. Maybe just copy this over. Now for variation, we can just add, we can just, all right, so here's the whole thing. Okay, now don't think the strings are probably the most important part, because when I make these samples and I didn't have the strings, I always feel like it's not complete. And the reason for that is because I never use strings. So use strings. All right, so let's go on to the horns. All right, so now we're gonna use the horns, and this can be just trumpets, it can be brass instruments, anything, right? So I'm gonna show you the VST. This VST was like 45 bucks, I think. So pretty cheap, and the quality does not even sound good, but I just like the selection of horns. I just like how it look. But the one I'm using is this, and then I really like this preset too. But you know, I'm using this sax horn. Okay, now the same trick I showed y'all in, I think, the last video for your range. Now we already got the range. Now look, watch this. We got this, copy this like this, paste it, pull that up, and then let me see, we can probably, all right, and this is your range for this horn. So let's go ahead and make something. So from the A to the E, so don't go above. I mean, you can go above, but I would just, you know, so let's go ahead and So that's the horn. So now we're gonna move on to our violin. All right, so we finally approached a orange instrument. Now, why it's orange is because it's a phrase-based instrument. Now, once we go in here, you'll see that it has samples here. Now, basically what these samples are just recordings of people playing the instrument live. And then they put them in here and they kind of sync them up to, you know, minor or whatever scale it's supposed to be in, so that you can play them in here. So I'll just show you. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, with the violins, you can get away with a lot because there are a lot of VSTs that can mimic a violin to where you can't really tell if it's a real one or not. So you don't need this, all right? But it is cool to use. So how you use it is you just pick the minor. You could just pick any of these like presets here. So this is the one I picked. Change the speed, and then you just pick the key. So we're in an A harmonic minor, so we want to pick the A, and now it's in tune. All right, and you can go on their site, and they have free versions of everything, like I said, and you can try this out for yourself. So go to piano roll, and just kind of throw some in here, and I'm just go fast because I don't want this video to be so long. Go to 1/4. Ooh, okay. I like that. Let me pull this out a little more. Okay, I like that, so I'm gonna keep it. And that's pretty much it for the violin. So let's move on to the flute. All right, so we come back to a blue one, which is the flute. And here is the plugin. Probably one of the best flute plugins in my opinion. But we already got our range from our horn, because there's similar horns and flutes that kind of, you know, played the same, I guess. So we got our range from that A to the E, so we already know that. So whenever you're feeling lost, even if you're just making a regular melody, just check back on what you made and it'll give you the answers you need. So let's go on here and we can just, let's just go back to the thirds. Let's just do something a little different rather than be on the grid the whole time. And then one reason why I really like this plugin is because you can kind of mimic a real flute if you kind of play it like this, play two notes on top of one another. You see how beautiful that sounds? Now we're just gonna copy this over, and I probably don't need to have that many notes, but it's whatever, you know, do what I want to do. All right, so that's the flute. We can just play it real quick. Okay, so now let's move on to our second phrase instrument. All right, so now we're back to an orange one. And this is going to be this ethnic strings. Now, the same thing as the other one. Now with these, I like to speed these up. They just sound so good sped up. Right, and that's a slow one. And we need to actually put this in keys, put it to the A. Now remember, the orange ones you do not need, okay? They're just extras if you just want to spice it up a little bit. And you can use tons of other VSTs are just, you can take samples from songs. You can use arcade and insert it here. So you don't actually need these, but these actually aren't that expensive. But especially for the quality that you're getting. So let's go ahead and try to find us a little decent thing here. See? Look. Sure. And I would take a lot more time actually finding the perfect sample, but I think that's a good start right there. So I'm gonna just keep it going, probably just follow this line. Okay, that's kind of trash, but we can use it. And then see. Yep, we're using that. Wait, is this the same? No. Probably a little bit more. All right, I think that's good enough for that. All right, so that is our, I don't even know what instrument this is, but what instrument is this actually? I don't know, I have to look it up later. But that is it for that one. So now we're back to, we're pretty much done now. Just gotta do the bass. All right. All right, so here's a bass guitar. Now, most people probably wouldn't even use a bass guitar, but I just like staying very authentic, because I think back to when they actually made stuff like this and it was popular. They didn't say, oh, 40 years from now, some kid is gonna put an 808 and snare over this song, so let me take this out and that out. So that's kind of my thought process. I want to stay authentic as possible, which I probably shouldn't do, because it might mess the sample up, whatever, but you know, I don't really care. I just want to make it sound good to me. So here's the bass. The reason I use this is because out of all the basses I ever used so far, this goes the lowest. A lot of them stop around like right here, but I like these really low ones, right? So that's the why I use that. So I'm gonna show y'all a trick. So you start on your root. So how you can get a really cool sound with this bass is if you make a chord backwards. So now you delete these notes and now you have this, and it'll give you a really, really weird sound, but it sounds good. And we're still in that 1/3. Let's go up a little bit. And it'll sound way better once we put it lower, so don't worry. And then we can kind of give it some groove, and that's why we put in 1/3, to give it that groove. Hold on, wait a minute. Kind of sounded good. Hold up. I don't know what I did. Dang, I don't know what I did. I'm gonna just delete it though. Fix it later. But let's just pull this up. All right, want to give it groove. Want to give it some groove. Pull it over like this. You can see down here, it's kind of equal. That's how you can kind of tell it's in the right spot. But I can't stop thinking about this. Hold on. I don't know what I did there, but it's not. All right, we could just use that. All right, so now we pull it down, and now we got that deep bass, and here's the sample, and we still got to put the effect. All right, so now let's go on to the last thing, which is the effect. All right, so real quick, we're gonna go over the effects. Now, I'm just show you all the presets and everything. So we got cassettes. Here's what it sounds like regular. And then let's pull this up. So it's a default preset, but I just changed the cassette and put it on home. And I wanted it to be as authentic as possible. And most people didn't listen to music on a pro system. So I put it on home or micro. And I really like the saturation it gives. It just sounds a lot more authentic to me. And then we got the RC20 cassette generations later preset, and it's pretty much a default. And I just, you know, just gives it that more. And then we got isotope vinyl. Now I don't have anything set here, but it just does something weird. I don't know what it's doing, but when you turn it on, it just kind of, I don't know, it gives it like if you see my cursor, it's giving it that feeling. I don't know what that is, but that's the feeling I get from it. And I got it on the year 2000 because the lower you go, the less bass is in there, and I like the bass. So I'll just. And then last thing, you can have halftime. Now, your key is important because I'm showing you this because when you halftime it, and I'll just show you. You can see how low it is, and this is being generous because it's at 1.5 instead of 2. And obviously we have that bass in there, but this is really low, so you might need to bounce it out, obviously, and then pull the pitch up, then put halftime on it, right? So that's pretty much it for the effects. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully this was helpful. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.